Hey guys, Zach here, and it's a beautiful day, and today I'm going to be telling you how to save money on your car insurance. Okay guys, so the reason I'm making this video is because I've had a lot of comments and questions on various bits of social media asking me how I insure my car. At the age of 19, a 2-litre convertible was not the cheapest thing to insure, and in fact last night I just changed my insurer. Originally, my first car was a 1.4 Polo CL 1998. Nothing special, it belonged to my nan before I had it, so it had a fair few miles on it, but it was the best car ever. The first year I was insured with Ingenie, which was a black box policy, very limited miles, and they even fined me if I sped. But I found that this taught me a valuable lesson to driving. My second year I was with Admiral with this was my first year insuring this car, and I was on a black box policy, but it was on something called a 10-month accelerated no claims, which meant I earned a year's no claims with 10 months only of insurance, which is a bit of a strange concept, but to be honest, I had my doubts, but it has been fantastic. It's enabled me this year to insure my car with 2 years no claims with Aviva for less than it would have been if I'd have waited the 2 years, which is just perfect. So to insure this car, last night it cost me £1,200. As a 19-year-old with 2 years no claims, that is quite expensive, but given the calibre of car it is, I can see why it's that much, and I wasn't surprised, to be honest. I have gone for a little bit of a more premium policy, which includes legal cover and personal accident cover, which I think is personally essential, because if you're being sued for an accident that wasn't your fault, you can then have a legal battle to fight that. So that's my history of insurance. Now I'm going to tell you a couple of things where I've learned a lot over these years of trying to get ridiculous cars insured, because I spent a good 6 months looking for this car and many other options to see what I could get as my second car. Okay guys, so tip number 1 is to shop around. The worst thing to do is get one quote and stick with it. I found that if you go on a price comparison website, you'll often be quoted cheaper than on the actual direct insurer's website. For example, my quote from Admiral was £1,400 last year. I put exactly the same details into Go Compare and Money Supermarket, and it brought it down by £200 to £1,200. Okay, tip number 2 is for younger drivers. Do not be afraid of a black box policy. They get a lot of bad press, but however, they can be extremely useful and you should use them to your advantage. My first 2 years I ran with a black box because it was considerably cheaper and it allowed me to earn my no claims bonus. A black box monitors your speed, cornering and braking. However, it is quite lenient, especially if I manage to get away with it. They can also sense if you've been in an accident with some policies, so when I was with Admiral, it had a sensor that could track when it was stolen. It had a sensor that can tell if it had been crashed, and it would automatically notify the emergency services by ringing my phone. Yeah, it's a great little tool and it's really useful for getting cheaper insurance. Okay guys, this tip applies for when you're renewing your policy. You need to make sure that your policy is not set to an auto renew. This letter is confirmation that I had cancelled the auto renew because Admiral had already put it on for me. Although this can be beneficial sometimes, if they're not going to give you a good renewal quote, why should you stay with them? I shopped around, I went to Aviva and found a cheaper quote. However, if I had not asked for this letter, they would have charged me £150 to get out of a policy that I didn't want. Okay, tip number 3 is to make sure you put in the right information. If you don't, the insurance companies will not pay out if you have an accident. A prime example of this is if you lie about your day job. If you say you are unemployed when you're actually going to school, it may be an innocent mistake, but they will not pay out. They will only pay for for the damage that you caused to someone else and won't replace your car, which will leave you without a car and without an ability to drive. Also, you should never lie about if you've ever had an accident or claim, or even a driving conviction. If you do this, your policy will again be voided and they will not pay out. Another thing is to perfect your information the first time on the quote. If you have to go back after you've got your first quote and change a tiny bit of information, even if you've misspelt your name, this will add a price onto your policy. It is ridiculous, I know, but I've found that when I refresh a quote, they'll put £5 more on the policy just because I've had to refresh it. This is ridiculous and it needs to stop, but at the moment insurance companies are allowed to do it. Guys, let's face it, when it comes to car insurance, it's all down to the car that you drive. This cost me more money than if I was going to drive a Fiesta, but let's be honest, which would you prefer to drive? You need to choose your first car to be a car that's not going to cost you ridiculous amounts of insurance, that is safe and that also is reliable. A poorly maintained car can even void the MOT and also the insurance document. When you're going to choose a car, you want something that's under 1.6 litres for your first year of driving. You also need to limit your mileage that you do each year, because there's no point paying for 10,000 miles when you're only going to do 6,000. There is a huge difference between these two tiers of policies in mileage, in price, so it's definitely worth limiting yourself in the miles. Hey, you can even get a lift with people if it's going to cost you less in the long run. Car insurance policies are full of hidden little costs. The prime example is the under 21 compulsory excess. When selecting your car insurance, you should be going for a low excess anyway, because you don't want to be stuck with a nasty bill even though an accident wasn't your fault. The first thing to check is whether there's an under 21 excess. Now on my Admiral policy, it was only until I bought it that I realised that I would have to pay £700 excess because I'm an under 21 driver. However, if my parents crashed the car as named drivers on my policy, they would only have to pay £250. This is not fair, but at the end of the day, this is how we have to do it. Another hidden cost could be any cost to change the information on your policy. This again, guys, is the reason why you've got to get your information perfect. They will charge you £60, most insurers, just to change a tiny little thing on your policy. They'll also charge you if you need to cancel the policy for any reason, or insurance companies will also charge you for extra miles, which means that if you exceed your stated amount of miles that you're going to do, they will charge you extra per mile. Okay guys, here's a little insurance hack that can help save you money. Now it doesn't happen on most insurers, but with Aviva I found that when it asked me how long I had a licence, it actually meant from the start of my provisional. To check whether your insurance company will do this, you must always click the information tab, it might be a question mark, next to the section where you have to fill in how long you've had your licence. A lot of the time they will actually count from when you had your provisional, because it's when you started driving, and this can save you a lot of money. Okay guys, that's it really. As long as you're honest and tell the insurance company what you want, you're smart and don't let them rip you off, car insurance is a doddle. Okay, don't forget to please like and comment and subscribe. I hope I've helped you in this video. Take it easy guys and drive safe. Cheers.